These are the Volar Sport moto brakes, the first brakes specifically designed for Surrons, talarias, and e-rides. Today we're going to install them on the e-ride and see if they're worth the hefty price tag. I'm also going to compare them to other brake setups that I've run on my bike. So by the end of this video, hopefully we'll know if these really are the end game Ferrari of e-bike brakes, or are these more like a Maserati. Like, they look fancy, but they're actually not that great. Ever since this genre of bike was invented, we have been stuck using mountain bike brakes. Lewis LH4s are pretty good. I like TRP DHR Evos. You can even get adapter kits to run like a full moto setup. Unfortunately, none of these brakes were designed for these types of bikes. So you have to choose between high-end mountain bike brakes that overheat and are also super expensive, or you could choose a full moto setup, which is super heavy and clunky and also costs a lot. If only some random European company would release something that combines the refinement of mountain bike brakes with the power of moto brakes. These are the Volar Sport brakes. Volar? I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm gonna say Valar for this video. You may have heard of these, but at the time of releasing this video, there are like 2 videos on the internet. One of those is from my buddy Skater Die, so definitely check out his review, but finish this video first, okay? He has more subscribers than me. I need the watch time. I got this entire kit from, say it with me, Rev Rides. This is not a sponsored video at all, but I do think that Rev Rides is maybe the only US retailer that has these. Maybe there's one other, I'm not quite sure. I don't know how they swung that, but nice work. If you want to save some money on Surron parts or e-ride parts, you can always use our secret code DEALZONE. On Rev Rides, you'll get a little bit of a discount on basically everything in the store, including these. But that discount, by the way, is just for the LOGANG, so if you're not subscribed, sorry. This whole thing comes as a kit. And when you order it, this is exactly what you're gonna get. Front brake line, totally braided with this protective sleeve. Rear brake line with a couple weird little, I don't know what those are. You are also gonna get adapter brackets, one that goes on the swing arm like that, and another one that adapts the mountain bike style mount to the Volar. You're also gonna get rotors, so a front 250mm rotor and a rear 220. I don't know why they did 220 on the rear. I wanna keep my Rip'n Moto 250s, which look almost identical, but for now, I think we're gonna have to bite the bullet and just go down to 220, which shouldn't be an issue because these things are massive, dude. Look how massive these are. That's the stock e-ride brake, which is significantly bigger than a stock Surron brake. And can you see that? The size difference is remarkable. You're also gonna get these beautiful, beautiful levers. They say it right there, made in Italy. All metal CNC'd. The construction on all of this is like ridiculously good. And you can see just how big the brake pads are. Oh, I'm so excited. You also have little O-rings and banjo bolts for mounting it up. It comes with everything you need except for brake fluid. And you're gonna need DOT brake fluid. And of course, you will need a way to bleed this kit. I hate bleeding brakes, and I've heard that these are kind of tricky to bleed. So I'll try to figure out what works so that you can avoid pain and suffering. Honestly, I'm a little bit sad that I have to take off this Rip'n Moto 250. You know I love my Rip'n Moto 250s. But I did some measurements and the front is exactly the same, so I'm gonna keep that there. Remember, whenever you tighten down a rotor, make sure to do it in a star pattern. Before we put the rear caliper on, apparently it's very important to have this. It comes with 2 of these spacers. I'm not entirely sure why they're not just part of this, but it sounds like Volar Sport is gonna release a new bracket that has these spacers built in. Okay, our first real hiccup. This front adapter bracket comes with both shorter bolts and slightly longer bolts. The shorter bolts are for bolting the bracket to your fork. On the e-ride, they are bottomed out in the fork before they're actually tightening this down. So that means I think we need to find shorter bolts. I assume this isn't an issue on a Talaria or a Surron, but at least on an e-ride fork, you're gonna have to modify some bolts, okay? Oh, wait, I'm so dumb. I'm pretty sure you can just use the bolts from your old brakes. Obviously, exactly the same, except slightly shorter. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to what I just said, okay? You don't need to modify bolts. These bolt holes are not slotted, so there's not really any adjustment from side to side to make sure your front rotor doesn't rub. That might become an issue if it means that the front wheel stops spinning, because that makes wheelies impossible. Nice. The brakes are on, but they don't have any fluid in them, which means it's time to bleed the brakes, aka spooky time. I hate bleeding brakes. I'm really so bad at it. So I have two methods lined up. I got the vacuum bleeder, and I'm also gonna try the world's biggest syringe. People have said these are kind of tricky to bleed, so I'm coming with every option that I know how to use. I'm gonna start with the syringe and inject fluid from the bleed port all the way up to the top of the lever. Hopefully that means there will be no air bubbles. Wish me luck. Fluid's going in. Is it dripping? Oh my God. How did people do this? This sucks. Oh, that's gonna make a fat air bubble. Yes, fluid's up there. Okay, moment of truth. Will the lever work? Fuck. Brakes are officially bled. Finally. Getting all of the air out is pretty tricky on these. Shout out to my buddy Patrick. Patrick has bled 6 of these brakes over 2 bikes. You do the math. He told me this old stunt riding trick. Compress your brake levers all the way and then zip tie them overnight. Before I did that, these brakes were not working. The next morning, I woke up, took off the zip tie, let it flick out like that. It was perfect. Tip number 2, once that's done, they're gonna feel super tight and awesome, but then you're gonna go out ride it, maybe do a couple wheelies, and all of a sudden the lever throw is gonna get longer. Make sure that your reservoir is topped up with fluid. If you don't have enough oil in there and you're up in a wheelie, the oil level can drop below the oil port in the bottom of the reservoir. And that would suck. Enough talk, baby, let's ride. All right, while I bed these in, let's talk price. Whoop. This whole kit costs $1,000. Not quite $1,000. Obviously less if you use deal zone. Anyway, a full TRP setup or a full moto setup, probably you're looking at $600 or $700. So these are currently the most expensive e-bike brakes in the world. You can buy the front and the back separately. So if you just want a really powerful brake for the rear, you can totally do that. So for $1,000, obviously you get super nice looking brakes, but none of that matters if they don't stop. All right, we're on our professional closed course. This is not an abandoned basketball court, I promise. The brakes are all bedded in. Let's do our first real stop. Whoa. That was a stupid test. Try that again. Oh my God. It's wet out here. Maybe that's why the rear one is making noise. I don't know. Oh my gosh. Well, they lock up the wheel. Oh my God. Oh. These things are ridiculous. I've never felt that feeling that you get in a car when you brake really hard or your whole body like shoves forward. I've never gotten that on a Surron. And my TRPs have never failed me. They've never faded. They're great brakes. But this stopping power on these is stupid. Oh my gosh. I wasn't even sliding. You can just see the individual tread marks of my tire. That's how hard it was pushing into the ground. Whoa. Now with brakes, stopping is only half the battle. Modulation is almost more important to me. When you're in a wheelie, you don't want big, powerful brakes that are just on or off. So these better have some control on them. Oh, they do. Interesting, let me try that again. Oh, interesting. Ignore the squeaking. I think they're just wet. It would suck if they just always make that noise. When you drop back on mountain bike brakes, like it'll work, but the further back you get, like back there, the grabbier the mountain bike brake gets. Like it's at the very limit of kind of the power that it can give. That's where they dumped my stolen truck, by the way. That's a different video. So far with these, I feel a lot more comfortable like leaning into the brake. Except for that noise, because they don't feel like they're at the edge of their limit, you know? And instead of biting, they just keep having modulation deeper into like the stroke. I should have phrased that different. With that in mind, I think it's super sick that they sell just like half the kit if you only want the rear brake. I've seen too many people loop mountain bike brakes because they get too hot. Oh, you're good, you're good. I'm testing new brakes anyway, so it's a good opportunity. Let's play a game called Can We Get These Brakes to Fade? I'm gonna find the biggest, steepest hill I can. I'm gonna go really fast and I'm gonna wheelie down the whole thing. Let's see what happens. Thank you. Okay, all right, let's do it. Come on. Oh my God. Oh my God. Ah! Oh, I lost my balance. All the way, all the way. Ah! All right, does the rear brake work? Yep, no fade. I feel like there's gotta be a catch. Obviously these are really expensive, but I'm gonna keep riding them and see if I can find any problems. Nope. Luckily the howling went away, which I'm really glad about because that would have been a deal breaker. I think I just got the rotor wet and it took a really long time to wear off, but the brake still worked. It was just, you know, everyone was staring at me. The front brake doesn't rub. The wheel keeps spinning. That's like so much better than any mountain bike brakes I've ever had. That's crazy. I've ridden some moto brake setups where the front caliper drags on the rotor a little bit. That also would have been a deal breaker. I've gotten these things hot, like really, really hot. At the end of that hill, I made the mistake of touching the rotor, threw my glove, almost burned myself. No signs of fading. I've tried that exact thing on some other brake setups, like my TRPs and my stock Surron brakes. Also some old Avid Code Rs. They all got weird and wacky when they get too hot. These, not even flinching. The only deal breaker, potentially for some people, could be the price. I think if you have the money, it's worth over-investing in brakes, especially if you're already gonna spend like $700. But at the same time, anytime I get something that's really expensive, I have this tendency to be like, oh my God, it's the best thing ever. I'm trying to be more objective here. At the end of the day, I think the biggest downside of these is the same downside as like owning a Ferrari. Looks super nice, performs super well. All your friends are gonna be like, whoa, you got the Ferrari, you got the Volar Sports? I don't know. But that comes with downsides, right? It's a niche European company. If God forbid this company goes under, where are you gonna get pads? The brake pads on their website, I think, are like 30 bucks. Not bad. But what if they go out of business? What are you gonna make your own brake pads? They're also so fancy and nice, it makes anything that's stock on your bike look really boring. So the only solution is to buy more parts and put them on the e-ride. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.